Hi, I'm John Holland, Chief Revenue Officer at Thrive. Today, alongside Eric Skeen, the co-founder of Three Tree Tech, I'll be talking to you about the amazing opportunity within your financial services customers when selling cyber, cloud, and IT services. Eric, welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, John. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about effectively how Thrive helps and validates an organization, both on the IT service side as well as the cybersecurity side, effectively NOC as a service, SOC as a service, and being able to take care of those customers in their very specific aspects of financial.
Excellent. Well, to start, Eric, can you talk a little bit about your company?
Yeah, not a problem. So my name's Eric Skeens. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Three Tree Tech. Our organization, very succinctly, we empower leaders. We empower leaders both on our customers as well as our partners, where Thrive comes into place. One of the things we like to do is making sure that we have that capability to drive decisions and thoughts and different information into these organizations as well as those leaders. And we do those through multiple different pillars: tech scouting, identifying disruptive and differentiated tech; tech architect, we look at an organization as a whole across their whole tech stack and identify what they're doing in the 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the line, and how do we look at technology and service providers to be able to drive better decision-making process and better performance and outcomes for them. And then the last piece is tech forums, where we bring in a lot of different leaders together in a different format where they have the ability to network with each other as well as identify and see speakers from some of these disruptive technologies.
Great, thank you. So we've engaged with you selling cyber, cloud, and IT services into a couple of your financial service clients. Have you traditionally sold these services through the years?
Yes, but typically they've been in a much larger scenario, much larger organizations when we're looking at Fortune 1000 companies. So it was a huge surprise to me within some of these very niche aspects of the financial services space that you had the opportunity to, one, bring a massive amount of value to these smaller companies. But also as a business, our goal is to obviously drive revenue within our own companies, that these smaller companies could drive such a larger revenue base than say traditional circuits or voice or a lot of the network slinging that effectively happens within the agent channel.
Traditionally, we say with partners, because they've sold telecommunication services to these customers, they kind of view their clients through telco colored glasses and don't view them through cyber and IT colored, and see the opportunity that's there, whether you view it cyber and IT spend per headcount for maybe some of these smaller clients that we've had some real success with you. Can you talk to me about one of those that we have had success with you with?
Yeah, not a problem. And one of the things to kind of preface to it is our organization, we haven't really focused on the networking and voice side as much. And so the fact that Thrive as an organization is very focused in on that IT services or NOC as a service or MSP, whatever acronym you want to use today, as well as the SOC as a service or MSSP or cybersecurity services for an organization. We've always focused on those components. And again, like I said, we focused more on that Fortune 1000 space. And it wasn't until one of our customers here locally needed some services, which was effectively MSP services, and identifying that there is a huge value that can be brought to these organizations, these small organizations. This was a 30-person company. They were specific on the financial services. So sometimes when and one of the things that Thrive brought to the table, sometimes when I'm talking with MSP providers, those MSP providers, when I bring up financial services, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is banking. And unfortunately, when we're looking at financial services, there's very niche aspects. And the one that this customer fell into was wealth management. Wealth management deals completely different than banking, credit unions, insurance. They're not in any way, shape, or form tied to those types of verticals within the sub vertical within the financial services vertical. And with that 30-person company, they have a lot of needs that are specific to that industry that Thrive has the capability to do. So when I talked to Thrive, and it was the first time I had started engaging with them around financial services, I always came in kind of defeated because of the fact that I know every single time I brought it to an MSP and brought up financial services, they thought banking. So when I stated wealth management to the folks over at Thrive, they said, great, we've got a team that handles just wealth management specifically and private equity firms, which kind of goes a little bit hand in hand. And I said, hold on, wait, what did you say? You actually said land. So then I'm a trust but verify individual. So I start asking questions that I know only somebody that is in wealth management knows. Everything from the back end systems that a wealth management organization uses or a private equity firm uses. So with this specific customer, when I came across that, and the fact that they have the capabilities of doing that, my first gut reaction is, okay, let's go ahead and bring you in front of this customer because they need help and they need it now. And so again, Thrive showed up really well.
You talked just a little bit, maybe, so some of these trusted advisors can put it in perspective, the deal. What was the approximate headcount, MRR to that, and maybe the timeframes of how long it took to sell it from beginning to end?
Yeah, not a problem. This customer has been a customer of ours for it was probably one of our first customers when we started about 5.5 years ago. But the opportunity within the MSP side was more so like maybe 8 months ago. And when we started the opportunity itself, it took maybe 4 to 6 months to close. And when we started that, when I brought in Thrive, one of the things I loved about the engagement was that the Thrive representatives were on it. I didn't have to press them for information. Have you reached out to the customer? We're a little bit different than some partners in that once we make an intro, I want my partner within Thrive to actually start building that relationship with the customer. And so that's a positive for me. And it was very helpful that they just ran their sales process through and through and was able to get to the next steps and make sure that they walk through this. And again, Thrive having a wealth management arm was very helpful because they could walk through every piece of it. The customer is 30 people, so 30 employees total, which typically is a pretty small organization if you're looking at it from a traditional telecom lens, as you stated. The amount for the MSP or the Thrive component was 10x whatever I could get on the telecom side. So we were looking closer to about after it was all said and done, about $30,000 a month in MRR spend for the customer with Thrive.
And it's a similar story actually as maybe your second win. So basically sharing to the trusted advisors that cyber cloud IT spend per head count isn't an anomaly. It was actually very consistent with the second one we did with you, correct?
Yeah, very consistent. The second one was roughly about 30 people as well. And this one was a private equity firm. And again, Thrive's capability to go deep into that specific sub vertical in the financial services vertical was huge because it gains a lot of trust and a lot of rapport with the leaders over there because they know that Thrive understands their business. And so certain things about SLAs or anything with an integration to different tool sets, understanding who the leaders over at those systems are, both in the private equity firm and the wealth management side of the house. And some of those folks actually from those systems, whether it's an Escastle on the wealth management side or some of the private equity types of technologies, there's a lot of folks that actually are from Es over at Thrive. So the synergies were perfect because they could talk to the leadership, they could talk through the transition of those technologies throughout the years and how Thrive plays into that.
Why would you believe the customers, whichever one you like to choose, but why would you say they chose Thrive?
The main reason that they chose Thrive is, I would say, the people and the knowledge in those specific spaces. And when I say the people, their Thrive's ability, or the people over at Thrive, everybody that they worked with, whether it was the folks that were more generalist within the organization or the folks that were very specialized in wealth management or private equity, all of them communicated well internally. So as they were having different conversations with the customer, that communication resonated. The customer knew that they were listening, and being able to deliver and execute on the needs of those customers were huge. And you didn't have any weird rubs between the leadership over at these customers as well as the folks over at Thrive. And so the teams themselves were providing a lot of confidence back to the customer leadership on both sides. And again, it just came back to understanding that business and understanding what they do as a business, and that they're not a bank, or they're not an insurance company, or any other financial services organization.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We have separate teams that we bring in based upon the sub vertical within financial services, and can speak their language, applications, workflows, and can talk to them from once they're onboarded, they'll be managed by people who that's all that they service, giving us a unique ability to be able to service them better and differently. It allows us to kind of be that financial services outsource.
Yeah.
Last question for you. How would you grade the overall experience with Thrive? Put you on the spot.
For me, honestly, if we're looking at it from a grading scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a pure 10. And again, it goes back to engagement right out of the gate, the actual process that each rep had. They have their own process, and I allow those folks to run their process. And as long as they have a process, it's great. And then so it doesn't stop there. Once the customer said Thrive's the one that we're going to do, then you saw an ushering of deployment. You had an ushering of onboarding that was just superb and excellent. And so that capability, even post deployment, and then the support afterwards, if there were any hiccups, and do know that there were hiccups, but those hiccups were addressed appropriately, and the team mitigated those hiccups very well. And so that was a big thing for us, is taking care of our customers, because that's what we care about at the end of the day, is being able to take care of those customers from the beginning, in that pre-sales where you've got to bring your dog and pony show, and you've got the A team going there, but Thrive also brings the A team on the back end. And it was with both of our customers that were 30-person customers. And a lot of times, a lot of the technology providers, 30-person customers too small for anybody to really give that type of care and effort to, but Thrive had that capability because they understand the nuances of wealth management and private equity.
These verticals, sub verticals within the financial services macro vertical, it's a unique storm in outsourcing. They outsource more than any other vertical. Their cyber and IT spend per headcount is higher than any other vertical. And it's also, at the same time, it's an untapped opportunity within the average channel partner's customer base, that these small ones are often, under 100 employees. Not to say we have many thousand person financial services firms, but this is an untapped opportunity within all of the trusted advisors bases out there. So this kind words and the feedback that you gave for us, we appreciate it very, very much. And to the listeners out there, if you'd like to hear more about this or engage with some of our verticalized experts within the financial services vertical, please let us know. My name is John Holland, Chief Revenue Officer at Thrive. Jay Holland at thrivenetworks.com. If you can let us know, we'd love to start the process just as we did with Eric. So Eric, thanks for partnering with us. Thanks for the kind words, and look forward to seeing you in the near future.
Appreciate it. Thank you, John.